All right, I think we're back. Oh, wow, let me tell you, that is challenging. This internet can be so challenging, and it doesn't matter how good you get everything else. If the internet sucks, then you're screwed when it comes to live video. So I think we're live. All right, the chat box has been going off. Sorry about the delay there, gang. Just not much I can do when things go wrong. So I do my absolute best to get it up and running. Looks good now. Thanks, friend. Oh, you're not talking about me. You're talking about the live stream. Alrighty. Now remember, if I'm doing this, which is probably quite annoying for you guys, is because I'm looking at my chat box over here. In fact, I'm going to bring it a bit closer. Let me just get it. Bring the screen a bit closer. There we go. But it's because I'm checking my chat box and my settings, which are on another monitor over here. Maybe what I should do is move the camera over there somewhere, but I kind of like it there. It's ergonomically works well for me. Alrighty. Now, I'm still getting some messages to say the streaming quality is not good, but there's not much I can do about it. So hopefully it works. And yeah, what can I say? It's just the internet. I wish the internet was better here. You know what's interesting? I've heard ads from NBN basically saying they screwed up and we're trying to get it right now. They should have got it right from the beginning, the mongrels. Anyway, let's have a look and see who's in the chat box this morning. Brian, g'day. Rick, g'day. Jenny, Susan, Sam, g'day. Oh, Ren from WA. How you going, buddy? John Horton. G'day, John. Still hot in Liverpool at 11:30. Liverpool. UK? Hot? Wow. G'day. Nut Tronston. G'day, Nut from the Northern Hemisphere. The middle of the night and soon midsummer, plus 15 Celsius and still good photo light. Oh, jealous. Good spot to be. G'day, Spanner. Kiwi Spoon, good morning. All right. So just give me some feedback. How is the stream going? Because I'm getting a notice here saying my streaming is not good, but everything seems to be working. So you might be getting some buffering. That's what I think might be happening. But I think overall it's working. So we'll get stuck into the show this morning. Let's get things underway. It's not too bad. Thanks, Sam. All right. So I thought the first thing I'd start off with, if you haven't noticed, I have been out at Vivid Sydney this week. And I don't know how many places have Vivid, but essentially what Vivid is all about is they light up parts of the city with these amazing light installations, and it's a festival of light. Every year it changes slightly. I think in the beginning it was all about the light, and each year it's 10th anniversary this year, but each year they seem to add new things, and it's always been an attraction for photographers because it's something different. But they're introducing other things that are making it less for photographers and more just for people to enjoy themselves, which is cool. But it's making it more difficult as a photographer to find things to photograph. They've also made it more difficult to photograph because all the safety Nazis are putting fences up and making us queue up and walk a certain way, and it won't be long and they'll ban tripods, I bet you. There you go. Anthony, g'day Anthony, not feeling the love? Well, Anthony, we better give you some love. Good news for you, Anthony. We're now all saying hello to you. How's that? Everyone say hello to Anthony. G'day Chance, how you going? Barracuda, slight pauses. Yeah, well, we'll get through it. I'm not sure what... It says my stream's good now, so that's good. All right, so I'm going to share my screen of some Vivid shots, just to give you an idea of some of the shots you can get. And I don't know if other cities do this. Here we go. But as you can see, that's the Opera House. And what they do is they stream pictures onto it. And the pictures move. So it's really challenging to shoot. Now, this was shot at ISO 4000. So it's a little bit noisy on the D810, and it's challenging to shoot, but it's good when you get some good shots. Now this one here I've got up on my Facebook page at the moment. I asked the question: does anyone know what Photoshop magic is going on here? You guys can answer the question here too. What do you think I've done to this with Photoshop to get this effect? But once again, the Opera House all lit up. I'll let your answers come through as they come through. Another one here. They have these this year. They've got these really cool lasers beaming off the top of the Harbour Bridge and a couple of the other buildings, and looks really cool. So yeah, loving the lasers. Sometimes this is a longer exposure, and all the colours, the golden colours, were melded together in on the Opera House to make that gold look. Which looks good. And some more lasers. So this is Vivid Sydney. So if you're in Sydney and you wanted to join me, I've got a workshop on Tuesday night. So I don't know if you're in where you're all located. I know you're all over the world. But I've got a workshop on Tuesday night. We've still got some spots available. So if you're in Sydney and you want to come join me, then you can do that. Just shoot me a message and come and join me for a bit of Vivid Sydney. All right. Will you see my new toy today? Well, if I move aside, there's a box here that I have not opened yet. And you may be wondering why there's only one box now, because in the photo before there was 2 boxes. We'll get to that shortly. We'll get to that shortly, but thank you for asking. Rick says, waiting to see those open. Yes. G'day, who else we got? Gary there. How are you, Gary? Good to see people popping into the chat box. All right, so that's Vivid Sydney. So if you want to come along to Vivid, join me for a workshop, let me know, and I'll point you in the right direction of where everything's at. By the way, if you wonder how I organise the show and why I'm looking down, I have a little cheat sheet with everything on there, and that tells me what I'm doing. So I stay on track. Otherwise, I would just waffle on. So you've asked for an unboxing. How about we do it, eh? How about we grab that box? We remove this aeroplane. My mum bought me this aeroplane. Being a pilot, she saw it, and the propeller probably won't work too well. It points in all sorts of different directions, let alone the surfaces that are supposed to create lift aren't too good. All right, here we go. Somebody mentioned the styling on these, or I am your order, I am your packing slip, but yeah, not opened yet. All right, I'll put that back. All right, it is unboxing time. Who's excited? I'm excited. I am excited. I have to move the keyboard out of the way quickly. There we go. Yeah, I don't know how well you can see what's going on. Let's adjust this camera so you can see what's happening here as I open this up. So let's start. I've got to get this packing slip out. Let's get that out. Don't need that in there. Pretty exciting, isn't it? It's always fun to get new gear. It's like a love letter from Nikon. Put that aside. We don't need that. Let's get into this box, hey? Hopefully you can all hear me okay. We'll get into this box. It's funny, it's been a while since, I bought the D810 back in 4 years ago or something, so it's been a while since I've decided, get rid of that paper, it's a bit noisy, since I've decided to upgrade, and you can probably see already what's in there. And, there we go. One Nikon D850. There we go. All right. Let's put this back up here. Something like that. There we go. How's that? So, I've been looking at different options for a while, and I had considered the Fuji GFX. I had considered the D850. I even looked at the Sony gear to see what they were offering. And then I was sort of waiting because I'd heard Fuji was going to bring out a medium format rangefinder. This was the rumour that I've heard. And I really love the Fuji gear, right? I've got the XT1. I started off with the XT1, and you know, I was going to upgrade to the XT2, but they're bringing out an XT3 at the end of this year, so I'm just going to wait for that now. But I had thought about the GFX, and the GFX is a medium format, but it's like a crop sensor medium format. So it's 51 megapixels, but it's a bigger sensor than what a full frame has by about the same percentage difference between a crop sensor and a full frame camera. So there's a fair bit of real estate in the sensor. And you may be wondering what makes the difference. What's the difference between it? If this is 45 megapixels, that's 51. It's not a huge difference, but it's actually the size of the pixels that makes the difference in the GFX. And so I still believe that you'd get a better photo out of the GFX. You'd just get a slightly better image. But the price, my gosh. To buy the Fuji GFX was more than double this, because I was going to have to buy the GFX and I was going to have to buy a lens or two or three. And I was starting to look at about $18,000-$20,000 to make the switch. And I thought, well, if I'm going to do that, I would have to sell everything. And I would have just the one camera that was very dedicated to landscape photography, which could be okay, but would be frustrating if you were trying to do other things where you needed, you know, burst shooting or something like that, because it just doesn't do it. So this is what I ended up with, the D850. Now, if you're wondering what was in the second box, it's also a D850. And you might be thinking, geez, Ben, you're pretty greedy, 2 D850s. Well, they're actually not both mine. That was a bit of a tease yesterday with the 2 boxes. When I ordered them, I ordered 2. You know, I just negotiated a deal, said if I get 2, will you give me a better price? I got a slightly better price, and then I just hunted around for a mate who wanted a D850, and we split the price. So that's what we did. So there you go. Now you know what's in the box. Yes, there you go. So the suspense is all over, and I think most of you guessed it anyway when you saw that it was a Nikon box. But I know most of you didn't know what was in the second one. So I will be doing a proper video of that. And comparing it to the D810, I'll do a video comparing it to the D800, because I know a lot of people are interested in that, whether they should upgrade. And the answer is, people say, should you upgrade? My answer to you is only if you want to. The D810 is still an amazing camera. The D800 is still an amazing camera. I just got, you know, I got a good price. There was a sale on. Thought, why not? I'll just do it. You know, at the end of the day, you know, I always say it's not about the gear, but as photographers, we love our gear, and I'm no different. And I thought, well, there's a few things that I do like about the Fuji that the back. All right. Wowee. Internet really struggling today. Struggling. How do I turn this preview off? Maybe this preview is eating things up. I'll turn the preview off. How are we going? Hopefully it's working. Always a challenge. I'm back? Cool. Okay, fantastic. Wowee. This internet drives me nuts. Does anybody else have bad internet where they are? Tell me where you are in the world and what your internet is like. All right, so let's get on with the show. Now, you're probably noticing that behind me, I still don't have the worldwide sticker board up. I do have the worldwide sticker board map here, as you can see. I'm going to do my best to get up today. I don't have any stickers yet, so you guys need to send me some stickers from around the world so I can get up on that, stick them up on that board. And yeah, my stream health is good apparently now, so you guys should be getting a good stream at the moment, which is good. It does. YouTube tells me when it goes bad and when it goes south, and my software starts to then tell me there's a problem. Yeah, so the worldwide sticker board, I'm going to stick it up today. Send me in your stickers from where you are, and I'll get them up on that board. Like I said, I've got little flags that I bought so I can run a string from the flag to your sticker and the location around the world. Let's start the sticker board off, and even though the boss says I've failed dramatically with the sticker board, not thinking it through, we're going to make it work. All right. Just a reminder too, if you have upgraded or joined as a Patreon, thank you. Really appreciate it. And if you're wondering if you're wondering what I'm talking about, you can go to patreon.com/on3legs with the number 3 and you'll work it out. But you get the opportunity there. I don't know if you can see the things behind me very well. There's some goodies back here. There's a beer can cooler and a mug here. And we've got stickers and a few other things next to my beautiful Arizona mug that came from Chance. Thank you, Chance. If you want to get those goodies, you can become a Patreon. Different levels, you get different goodies sent to you. If you have upgraded or joined during this month and you're wondering where your goodies are, I'll be doing the distribution at the beginning of every month. So the first, once the end of month rolls over, then I'll be doing it just has. So anybody who joined in May, I'll be getting your goodies out to you during the week, and you should see those in the next couple of weeks. And I'm not sure who recently got some goodies sent out to them. I did send some out at the beginning of the month. So if you've got goodies, you've got your On Three Legs goodies, post a picture of them on my Facebook page and I will share it with the world, or send me a picture of you with them so I can share them and let people see you using your beer can cooler or your mug. All right. And just a reminder too, I know I flashed this up before as my little, to save myself whilst I was trying. Yeah, I'll follow you and you follow me and we'll help each other take better photos. How's that? Alrighty. So, I was going to do a Lightroom tip, but we're running low on time now. We're behind schedule, so I'm going to skip the Lightroom tip and we are going to jump straight into challenge winners. So, jumping into the challenges. Now, if you're wondering what the challenges are all about, all the VIPs, very important photographers, join this group here. It's called the On Three Legs VIP group. Oh, it's not letting me zoom in, or is it? Oh, there we go. That's my ugly mug at the top. And we have a challenge every week for everybody in the group, and you can see these are the challenges that we've had so far. Last week's challenge was vertical landscapes, and we had one very cheeky entry, which is this one here, of a vertical landscape by Anthony. So Anthony, you are getting a mention. You are getting some love. I love the comments here. Ryan says, "You idiot." You said it's vertical with your tongue out smiling. Anyway, so there's a bit of fun going on. But let's jump into these and have a look through the different images. So Anthony had this one here as well. Come on. Now my internet's struggling. with the two markers, and really like this one. The longer exposure. Broccoli. It's obviously a broccoli farm somewhere. Rob Roy, Bridge Over Troubled Water. Makes me want to sing a song. Stephen with dinghies on the wharf. Come on, internet. There we go. That was nice. It was also got a bit of a shallow depth of field happening on that one. Another one with Dawn. A lovely tree with some stars. That's nice. So, by the way, if you're in Australia right now is the time to be shooting astro, because the Milky Way comes out not long after sunset. It's called the galactic core. View at night from Wren. Another one from Wren. Moonlight shadows. It's amazing what you can get with a long exposure, isn't it? Morning sunlight. Nice. Alrighty. So, the winner... Should just start with the runner-ups. The bosses picked this one here. Well done, Stephen, as the honourable mention with the dinghies. Nice photo. And the winner for this week's challenge is Anthony with markers. Really nice photo. Love it. Love the colours. Love the long exposure on the water. Everything just works really, really nice. And, you know, just an example of when you can switch your camera onto vertical, how you can get some great photos. And if you want to become part of the VIP group, just go to patreon.com/on3legs, and that will show you what's involved. You to get out there and learn new things, so get stuck into it and have a bit of fun. All right. And just a reminder too, I haven't had any viewer kits set in for a while, but if you this is a picture of my kit some years ago. But if you have a viewer kit that you want to share with us, then please do. Please do. Send it in and I'll share it on the show. Just give me a brief description of what's in your kit. I just realised that this particular shot here, when I was sharing my socials with you not long ago, there was no audio. No one told me there was no audio. One of the tricks for young players is when you load an image, you have to associate an audio source with it in this software. And I'd forgotten to do that. But yeah, if you want to follow me, they're the two places to follow me. All right. So let's check the chat box and then we'll jump into the image critiques for today. Alrighty. Anthony says, well, thank you. Well done, Anthony. G'day all from Greg. G'day, Greg, which is Photographia Australis. Susan's just put a comma. Thanks, Susan. Just a comma. She's just punctuating today. That's all she's doing. Punctuating. Nothing like a bit of punctuation on a Saturday morning. Congrats, guys. Well done, says Gary. Anthony Brian says down in Corio Bay. Is that where it is? We'll find out. Anthony says lost. He was a little lost with the challenge. Yeah, well, I think you did well. I did like your cheeky one. A vertical landscape. Always one. There's always one. That's what they say. There's always one. All right, let's get stuck into image critique. I've actually got 3 images today, so let's jump straight into that. Lightroom. Let's get Lightroom loaded up. Here we go. I'll get rid of those sidebars so we can see the 3 images better. There we go. Thumbnails are as big as I can make them anyway, so it didn't help. So we've got 3 images today. The first one here of the aeroplanes is something a bit different, and not being non-landscape, I'm still going to critique it, but it's probably going to be shorter than the others, so I've decided to do 3 images today. But that one's sent in by Robert Stancer, and he knows my love of airplanes and flying and aviation, so I sent that one in. The second image here, so that was the first one there, by the way. We'll come back to that one. Second image there. In fact, I think I better do this properly. I think I set up some, I set up some of these. This fancy software lets me do this, see? So thanks, Robert, for sending that in. The second image that I've got is, see how I can make those fade in and fade out. It's pretty groovy, isn't it? So the second image I've got is this one here. I'll go to fit. There we go. And this one here was sent in by Stephen Algie. Who's sent in images before. And I love to see people sending their images in, time and time again, because we get to see the improvement of that particular person each time that happens. Oh, wow. And then the next image is this mind-blowing field of tulips that was sent in by Rob Roy. Let's put that one over there. There we go. So thanks for that, Rob. Really nice image. Lots of mind-blowing mind-blowing colour. All right, so let's start with this one here, which is Robert's, and we'll have a bit of a chat through. So I drink my Pixel Chatter coffee before it goes cold. Hang on. Always love a Pixel Chatter coffee. I hope you're all having a Pixel Chatter coffee. There we go. Yeah. Love me Pixel Chatter cup. Thanks, Scott. It's the only one. Unless Scott's got his own. I don't know if he did his own or not. Maybe he did. All right, let's jump into the critique. So this one here by Robert of the aircraft. He shot this with a... Let me get rid of this down the bottom. We don't need this bar down here distracting us. Oh, I hate how that happens. I didn't want to open Evernote. I'm going to shut Evernote down. Is it the red arrows? Could be. I don't know. I don't think he gave me that detail. I think he's in England, so this would have been in England, I'm guessing. Because it's Rob the Pommy is what he calls himself when he signs off on his emails. Rob the Pommy. And I don't think he's in the chat box, but if he is, he can speak up. Take it with a Nikon D810 using a 70 to 200mm f2.8 lens at ISO 200. Now, focal length was 280mm, so I'm guessing he had a teleconverter on. Otherwise, that wouldn't have been possible. 1/500th of a second at f11. And as I said, ISO 200. Technically, I was asking myself, and let's just zoom in a bit more. Let's go to 3:1. I was asking myself, the first question I asked myself was, why f11? And this is something, when you shoot anything, you got to think about. When depth of field's not important, you could open your lens right up. And what I mean by that is go to a smaller f number, and it will give you a faster shutter speed. Now, for example, if he shot this at f5.6, which he would have been able to do with a teleconverter, it would have doubled his shutter speed to 1/1000th. Now, I don't think he needed 1/1000th, but always going to help. I mean, these guys are probably screaming through the air. I don't have a high enough res photo to see if it's 100% sharp, but it looks to me like it could be sharper. So you would have 1/1000th of a second if you'd gone to f5.6. If you'd also gone to ISO 400, you'd have 1/2000th of a second, so even faster. Now, if 1/500th was fast enough, then going to f5.6 would mean you could drop your ISO to 100. Not that that's important in this image, but, so always think about the fact that when you make these changes, you can actually change other things to eliminate the side effects. Because the side effect of ISO is noise, and in a situation like this, you want a fast shutter speed. So I would have been tempted to change that to f5.6. He had it on auto ISO. He did tell me that. It doesn't tell you that in the EXIF, unfortunately, but he did tell me that in the email. So it was choosing the ISO automatically, and that's cool. I think whether he was on aperture priority, he was probably on, maybe he was on shutter priority. I don't know. Doesn't tell me that either, unfortunately, unless I load it into something with more, that gives me more detail. But yeah, for me, they're just things that I would think about. I wouldn't have shot this at f11. I would have opened my lens up to 5.6 and really, taken advantage of the fact that I could have got more light in and got a faster shutter speed and guaranteed some sharpness. The other thing that you've just got to watch for when you process an image is these dust bunnies, because it's the first thing I spotted. I don't know if you can see that there. Very, very obvious. Super simple to remove. Jump into the develop module. Grab the spot healing tool. Just hit it like that. Bang. Dust bunny gone. Okay. Distraction removed. You'll never ever get rid of all the dust on your sensor or the spots. It's very hard to do that, but you can always remove them in your post-production. And when you're shooting when you're doing shooting a blue sky, then you're always going to get some dust bunnies. And the higher your aperture, the more you're going to see them. And as a little test for you, if you want to see how many dust bunnies you have on your sensor, take your camera out when it's a blue sky day, open it up to f22, shoot it at infinity, focus to infinity, and just take a photo, put it on your computer, and then you'll see everything. And that's why it's important when you put these on here to check those things out. The only other thing that I would say is I would prefer to see the bottom of these planes a bit better. So a little bit of a slide with the shadows, and you'll see the difference it's making to the bottom of the planes. Okay, so it just lights them up that little bit. They were a bit dark in my eyes, so things like that can just make a bit of a difference. You can see I've just marginally increased the shadows. That's all I've done. And if it wasn't that, you could probably get away with increasing the exposure slightly, because there's no blown highlights. I would still do the shadows slightly just to try and get the bottom of those planes up a bit of clarity, just to make them stand out. And just that alone, you see the difference between that and that. Okay, it just makes a marked difference. So don't be afraid to do a little bit more post-processing. Once you've finished a photo, always look at it the next day and go, what could I do better? Because to me, that's just a little bit too dark. I would definitely spend a bit of time, even things like the vibrance. Let's get the colours really to pop. If you come down here and you do things, saturate the reds a bit more, like we know that these planes are red, and very quickly, you can see how quickly I'm making changes, but that's before and that's after. Okay, which photo is more appealing to you? The other thing I would do, actually, now I've looked at it, is I would crop the top to make it similar to the bottom, because that wing tip there is really close to the bottom. See that one there? Same with the top there. Now you can see the artifacts of what I've done is created a whole bunch of noise. I would say that he's probably already really cropped this a fair bit. Let me go back and have a look and see what the size of this is. It's only cropped slightly. Okay. So there you go. That'll give you anyway, gives you an idea of what you can do. And even on a photo like that, it doesn't take much to sort of fix it up. So thanks for sending that in, Robert. And I've got several aviation ones from Robert that we'll look at over time. Yeah, here we go. Now this is a beautiful image taken by Stephen Algie. Beautiful image. Let me just, boy oh boy, I'd be happy with it. There's a couple of things I'm gonna suggest, but that is a really, really nice image, and you should be really happy with that. Composition is nice. I love the way the tree comes in from the top. I love the exposure time is just right, so you haven't lost detail in the water. I love the dabbling light coming in on the left here on this, whatever this is up here. Green ferns, is it? Yep. And like a mist. Really like it. So, how could we improve such a good shot? Let's look at it technically, and then we'll go through and make some other changes. So, let's have a look. Wow, I don't have any EXIF information. That's interesting. Must have been his email. Okay, we don't have any EXIF information on this, so we're just going to have to fly by the seat of our pants. Definitely a long exposure. I'll go straight into the develop then. One of the challenges I see straight away, and if I put the highlight clipping on, once again, to do that in Lightroom, once you're in the develop module, open your histogram up, which is the top bar up here. I'll just close everything up. Makes it less confusing if everything's closed and you can just see what we're working on. But if you just, whenever you work on a photo, just open this histogram up and right click, or just click on this, not right click, just click on this right arrow. And you'll see straight away, I'll zoom in on the photo, you'll see straight away when I do that, this red area appears when I just hover your mouse over. Okay, that's telling me I've got blown highlights straight away. And I could tell when I was looking at the image that this area here is just really bright. So, you know, you've got to be, when you're processing your photos, just always look out for that. Because all I need to do to drop that down now is just, if I drop the highlights just slightly, you'll see it'll drop. The other thing I can do is just, if I hold down my shift key and double click on the white, the word whites, you'll see it drop the whites down and got rid of that for me anyway. And I usually do that as part of my processing anyway, same with the blacks, because I want to make sure that I have the best contrast I can using those before I use the contrast slider. And if we just have a look at the difference that has made, just that one adjustment. Okay, that's before and that's after. It's very subtle on that waterfall, but it's just taken that harshness out of the light. And, you know, it's a very, very simple thing to do. So I suggest always just have a little bit of a process you go through with every photo just to make some really quick basic adjustments. So that's the whites down. Now, I'm feeling that I'm going to make a few changes here. I'm feeling I want the shadows slightly higher. I want to make sure my blacks are black. I'm just going to bring them down slightly. So it wants me to leave them at 0 because we're going to lose detail. That's cool. I'm just going to give things a bit of clarity. I'm going to do a bit of dehaze, which will also just calm down my water for me. I'm going to up the vibrance a tad, just a tad globally, and then I'm going to use local adjustments. That's what I'm going to do with my basic adjustments. And then from a detail point of view, I'm just going to bring in some sharpening and then mask it off. Okay, just so I'm not sharpening things I don't want to sharpen. Okay, there we go. I'm just going to go back up to my basics. I might just check this white balance slightly. Just, it's a bit warm, so I'm just going to come down just slightly. We need to readjust those whites. There we go. Bring those highs down just slightly. Yeah, so it's probably, this photo I'd say has been taken with this area here overexposed. So just watch that when you take photos, because I can't recover these. So it doesn't matter what I do. Watch, I'll put in the highlights all the way down, and you'll see these pixels here. See these pixels? They're just gone. Can't be recovered, and that's because they're pure white. So you can just see they're pure white. It doesn't matter what I do, they're going to be blown out. Okay, so the only way to fix that is to not have done that in the first place. So just be really careful when you take your photos, because that, when you print that, for example, in a printer, is just going to be a pure white piece of paper, photo paper, and it's not going to look great. So yeah, if things are blurry, I'm just reading the notes here. It's probably because the internet's a bit slow today. You might have to watch the playback, which will probably be a higher res. I don't know. Anyway, so that'd be the first thing I'd do. The other thing I would do, because I really love this tree up here, is I just grab a local brush, go clarity crazy on it, and just really brush it out like so. Just makes it stand out, because things start to melt together a bit. This will just make that part of that tree and this green bush up here really stand out nicely. The other thing is I'm going to clarity this corner down here, like so. Wow, such a good image. All right. So if we just do a before and after now, just so you can see what those few changes did. So this was before and after. Okay, before and after. So very slight changes. So before, so you can see before there was a lot of light on the waterfall, and it wasn't as even as it could be. And after, you can see that just a little bit of work has brought some of the other areas of the image out, so we can see this tree a little bit better, and you know, just those few changes makes just makes a massive difference. Okay, everyone's saying you got blurry screen, eh? Let me just check and see what's going on. Let me have a quick look. Well, it's saying my stream is good, but yeah, maybe you've got blurry. I don't know. It's going to be something to do with the internet. Unfortunately, it's always a problem. Yeah, I think it's just the internet strength, unfortunately. Just the internet strength, yep. Sorry, not much I can do about it. Okay, let's jump back into Lightroom. Hey, Izzy, you're in Perth, mate. What are you doing in Perth? What's going on in Perth? I'll just go through, have a quick look at the comments whilst you admire this image of Steve, and he's in the chat box. I think it's is it Spanner? I think that's you, isn't it? Yes. I'm sharp. Thanks, Nigel. Based on the country market. Oh, so we're talking about the red arrows there. Now I've done the changes. Definitely the red arrows. The Milky Way is also out here in Arizona. Awesome. Tim says, "G'day, late checking in." Yes, you were. I'm just going through checking some of these comments. Awesome. Great stuff. Nothing. Okay. So yeah, really nice image. Just a few changes, and just watch your exposure when you're taking those photos, because always a challenge if you're not careful. You'll you can blow things out like that, and then you're going to be sorry when you go to print them. They're just not going to work, and you're going to be very sorry. All right, thank you for sending that in. All right, hopefully the stream's good and it's not too blurry, because this is another amazing image. And the thing, for Steve, Rob, Brian, all these guys have been sending photos into me for probably over a year now, and I've been watching the quality of these images just get better as the years go, as the months go on, and I can see that you guys are really improving out of sight, which is good. And that's what this, that's the whole idea of this show was, to be able to do that. And I always say I'm not an expert. I'm just a photographer who has taken a lot of photos and has an idea of how I like to process things, and have sort of been able to get some photography, or get some. Oh boy, it's a fantastic shot. A Nikon D850, great camera, ISO 64, shot at 52mm with a 24 to 85mm lens, which is the kit lens, like a 3.5 to 4.5mm lens, and taken it, like I said, ISO 64, so as low as you can go. F20, which is a really smart move because you're getting the depth of field, and it's 1/15 of a second. So being on a tripod, making it nice and easy for you. Now, only having a JPEG means I can't see all the detail, but I'm saying, technically I'm not seeing anything that stands out to me. I'm seeing a photo that looks really good. Maybe a little bit of fringing, or like color fringing, but that's hard to tell because I've got a compressed JPEG here I'm looking at. Love the rays up here in the sky. I'll just reduce that zoom to 2 to 1. There we go. Love these rays. How you've captured these rays looks awesome. Just a great photo. I mean, there's nothing really I can pick. There's a few little things like this here that you just know I'm going to clean up in a second, but everything else looks really good. Looks like you've been really good at removing your dust bunnies. Bit of noise in the sky. Remember, I'm looking at this at 2 to 1. But don't be afraid to, if I go to 1 to 1, very hard to see. Don't be afraid to do a bit of noise reduction on things like the sky. The other thing I can see, if you have a look, if we go into the develop module now, let's jump into there. I can see a bit of blown out sky. So the way to reduce that from happening is in the field, use a filter. If you don't have a graduated filter, just even a 0.3 or 0.6, which are, 1 or 2 stop ND graduated filter would have helped you with that sky, because you're shooting into the sun. Even though it's behind the clouds, always an issue, but you've lost a lot of detail there. Even if I bring the highlights back, you can see this area here, I'm going to say was blown out in the original image, and you've tried to fix it in your post-production. So don't be afraid to put a filter on. Or the other thing to do is take 2 photos. Take one with your foreground in exposed correctly, and take another one with the sky, and just blend them together in Photoshop. And it's really quite simple to do. And if you've got the Creative Cloud combo of the Lightroom and Photoshop, you can do it really easily. Maybe I'll do a video on that, because it does help you with it. What I would probably do is just try and I mean, this is very true to what you probably were looking at, but I'd probably try and just lift the oomph of these tulips, because they're just amazing. So let's have a look at what I would do to this. There's not a lot, to be honest with you. It's bloody brilliant. Nice shot. Really impressed and jealous that you've got this tulip field nearby. And it looks like you've done really well, considering they've got some ugly equipment in the back there. You've done well that hasn't really detracted from the shot. I probably, to get rid of that, by the way, if you wanted to get that out of your shot, would be just lower your camera just a little bit more until these tulips at the back cover that up, because it's not adding anything to your photo, and I don't think you'll detract anything by covering up this shed. You'll still have this beautiful horizon with the trees popping up, and then the layers of mountains in the background with the sunbeam. I mean, it's really nice. It's really nice. All right, so the way that you could oomph up these flowers in the front is just lift the shadows up a bit. You can see straight away, if I lift the shadows up just a tad, and let's just do the whites and blacks a bit, see if we can solve. Yes, it's trying to, you can see it's put the whites down to -93, trying to solve that issue. And I'm going to leave it down there because I think that'll work well. Bring the shadows up just that tad. A little bit of contrast just to undo what I've done there. I'm not going to touch any of these. I might do a little bit of dehaze. I'm not going to touch any clarity. I'm going to do it more locally, because I think that would be a good idea. And just punch that vibrance up just a little bit. But you've already done a great job with the colours. All right. I think it's more about focusing on a local adjustment. And that local adjustment that I would do would be a graduated filter of clarity from the bottom. And I'll show you how I would do that. Hold down the Shift key, drag it up like so to the point where you want it to stop, which would be at the top of the flowers. Grab the bottom of that filter and take it up like so. Now you can see that's overdone it. It's already got a lot of sharpening and clarity on it, so yeah, it's difficult situation, but I think that's going to work. The other thing you could do with that filter, now that I've done that, let's just find it. There it is. There is you could add some more. You know, now I can, because I've used that graduated filter, all the adjustments I make to that filter will just adjust the bottom half, not the top half. So I'm just going to apply a couple of things to see what I can do. I'm going to really just give it a bit of a... I'm just going to touch it up a bit. That's what I'm doing. Hard to explain exactly what I'm doing because I'm just trying a few different things. And sometimes this is what I do when I do something like this, because I just want to try different things. But what I've done is I've increased the contrast, dropped the highlights, increased the shadows, dropped the blacks slightly, increased their saturation. You can see I've used a bit of clarity and dehaze on this filter, and that's it. Now, if we jump into a bit of a before and after, just to see the difference. Just made them pop a lot more, and on the JPEG it's not working as the way I would like it to. So let's just see if I can get back into that filter. Now, once you've done a filter, by the way, when you click on the gradient filter, ask you if you want to do a new one, or you want to edit one. To edit one, you just click on the little grey dot. You see there, that brings that filter back up. I want to drop. I'm getting too many of these white lines, and I don't know where it's coming from. So I'm just, it's the shadows. So we're gonna have to just be a bit more careful. The shadows can go. Okay, we'll get rid of the shadows, and what we'll do instead is we'll just bring the exposure up slightly. instead of increasing the shadows. Because what happens with increasing the shadow, especially on a small JPEG, it does like a weird white fringing. So we'll just do that. I'm just going to drop the white slightly. So remember, I'm just increasing the exposure on the bottom half of the image. Still not perfect, but if you had the raw file, it would work much better. But you can see, to me, that is just more appealing. So if you can see the balance throughout the image is just that bit better. And mate, just a great photo. The other thing I would do, which I know you've all seen me do before, but I'll show you. Oh, let's grab a graduated filter. I want a new graduated filter. New one. Give me a new one. Yes, please. Oh, I don't know what's going on. My computer's doing something funny. Just give it a second to rest. Give me a new filter. No. Doesn't want to let me do it. It just wants me to keep looking at it. Doesn't want to let me do anything. Oh, it's because I'm in the before. There we go. New filter. Graduated filter. There we go. Get rid of the clarity off of that one. And just drop the exposure slightly. Just darken the bottom up a bit. Just so the eye is led into it. Because the top is quite dark. My other thing is I would probably just crop that that little bit of bright sky out as well. Get rid of that. There we go. Now I'm happy. So that's the before and the after. Before, after. Okay, because the hero of this shot is the tulips, but really nice shot, really well done, Rob. And yeah, what can I say? What a great shot. Love it. Love it. So many great colours. I love the fact that they've got this field and they've just mixed all the colours up. So I don't know if they can control the colour of the tulips. I'm sure they can. They could plant them all as one colour. And I'm assuming this is like a farm of tulips. Yeah. Yeah. Now you would have to be careful because you can see what I've done there is really lightened up some of the stems, that fringing, and that's because of the backlighting. So if you do that raw file, you won't get that same problem to that extent. So just, yeah, fantastic. Fantastic. Because Rob's already done a bit of processing on it, obviously. But yeah, good shot. All right. Well, that's it. That's it. So 3 great photos. Thanks very much, gang, for sending those in. So thanks to Robert, Stephen, and Rob. So Robert is the Pom. He calls himself Rob the Pommy. For those 3 images, guys. Thanks for those 3 images, and love the shots. And I'd be proud of taking any of those photos. They're all good photos, so well done. Nice work. Alrighty, so let's finish up by going back to the chat box. Now, reminder too, there'll be no Pixel Chatter next week because next week I am heading back to Tasmania with the new Nikon D850, which will be pretty exciting. And I will obviously put a video together of me going there and shooting with the D850. I'm just swapping over to see what's going on with my stream, see where you guys are up to. Hopefully it says it's okay, so hopefully you're still there and you're still getting some decent streaming happening as we finish and wrap up the show. All right. Greg says, how was Vivid? Well, you'll have to watch the beginning of the live stream where I showed some of my images. But it was, yeah, it was good. Look, I haven't been for a couple of years. And you know what? I'll just quickly show you again because I did have them up before. Oh, let's do this. I don't think it's as vivid as it was last year, which is, you know, a bit of a shame. But, you know, so far I've gone in and just got a few shots. But the difference is right now for photographers, they do have these lasers in the sky, which is awesome. But yeah, I think it's okay. It's harder for a photographer, I think, now to get the shots you want. You know, it's just they've made a few changes in my mind, like put barriers up, and the lighting displays aren't as exciting as what they have been in the past. I don't think the Opera House sales are as good as what they've been in the past, but that's just me. So yeah. Tim says no GFX, no No, and I explained why. More to do with cost than anything else. Dave says, "G'day, Dave. Would bracketing help the tulip photo? Yeah, definitely. But once again, you'd have to merge them together. So, I would. You could have exposed for the sky, exposed for the bottom. I'm a big fan now. I don't know if you've noticed, but with these sensors that have such a good dynamic range, having to do bracketing is getting less and less for me. In fact, I hardly do it at all. What I tend to do is just put a filter on. And, if you'd put a 0.9 or 0.6 graduated ND filter on that to settle down the sky, you would have definitely got, all of the dynamic range in, and you would have been fine. Alrighty. Well, there we go. Lots of chat going on. What else we got? Might try cropping a little of the blue sky. The blue sky. Don't know which photo you're talking about, Greg, but there you go. Don't know which one. Must have been the first one, which I think I did. Don't know. Good stuff. Well, there you go. That's it for this week. I've got my new toy. So oops, upside down. There we go. You know what I'll be busy doing? Setting that up. Looking forward to doing a bit of photography. The weather outside is not great in Sydney, actually. So that'll give me time anyway to get it out of the box, charge it up, and then I'll do a bit of a first impressions video for anyone who's interested. After shooting with the D800 for years and then the D810, I've had the D810 for 4 years. We looked at the shutter count on the D800 yesterday because I'm putting it on the market. It's got 43,000 shots on it. The D810 is probably now similar. So the D850, I've taken a lot of photos on those other two cameras. The D850, from all accounts, is supposed to be that next level up again. So looking forward to trying it out. Like I said, I'll be in Tasmania again, back at Cradle Mountain, in fact, for the June long weekend. I rebooked to go back with the boss, and the plan, or the reason for that was I was hoping to get snow down there. So they haven't had any snow there yet. They have got some snow, I think, at Mount Wellington. I don't know if where's Sam on today? Sam Allen, he's down there somewhere in Tassie. But yeah, that's the way it is. Who else has got a D850? Dave does too. Nice stuff, Dave. Are you enjoying it? Have you started shooting yet? So yeah, I'm interested to see. The other thing they claim with this new backlit sensor that that it's better with the high ISO. So I thought what I'll do is side-by-side testing with the D810 and the D850 in Vivid. I'll go down and I'll set up both cameras shooting the Opera House, because one of the things you do get with the D810 is a bit of noise, and I can actually show you that on one of those shots. Let me just go into my Vivid Sydney files. Okay, I'll just quickly show you, because whilst they say it's really, the noise control is really good. If I let me go to one where I know I've shot high. So put these thumbnails back. Here we go. So with the Harbour Bridge, so the Opera House, for example, I always shoot pretty high ISO because I want to freeze all the movement of these lights on the Opera House, rather. But have a look at how noisy it is. That's at 3:1. If I go 1:1, but it's quite noisy, and that's at ISO 4000 out of the D810. So a lot of people have always said, it's really good, with noise, but I find it's not that good in some situations. So it doesn't, you have a look at the noise. It's definitely got a lot of chatter going on in there. Even if you look at some with a lower ISO, let's just quickly filter by ISO. Exposure info. ISO, let's look at 800. Here's one at 800. At 800 it seems to do all right. But what happens is I like to underexpose to try and get all the lights exposed nicely. Let me just bring the shadows up, or the exposure up, just see. And that gives you an idea of the noise that's going on, even at that's at 800. So it is, unfortunately, it is a bit noisy. Oh, I didn't want to crop. Why'd I hit that? And that's just it. Even at ISO 64. I mean, you're going to get noise at any ISO, but let's have a look at ISO 64 out of the D810. Remember, these are all out of the D810. And you can see these, much better. This is ISO 64. So at ISO 64, it performs really well. But as soon as you start increasing the ISO, I start to see issues. So it's going to be interesting to see if the D850 is as good as they're saying, because I haven't been happy with higher ISO on the D810. I think the Mark III, the Canon 5D Mark III did a better job, and I had somebody at my Vivid workshop the other day that had a Mark IV, and it performed really well. I don't know how it goes for noise, but they seem to have a better sensor, which I don't think they're going to want to hear. So I thought I'm going to do a side-by-side test at ISO 4000 just to see if this one shoots better. And of course, I'll film that. It'll be a video. So if you've got Nikons and you're wondering, I don't shoot at ISO 4000 very often, but that was disappointing. All right, well, that's it for this week's show. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already, make sure you hook up with me on social media. I'm going to bring that up again. Instagram and on Facebook, pretty active, so make sure you hook up with me there and come and hang out with me. I try and post photos every day. I go through periods where I don't, typically when I'm away or just being slack, which we all do from time to time. But please do. And if you want to shoot your images in for image critique, then just the instructions are down below on how to do it. But it's basically ben@on3legs.com with the word 3. So shoot me an email with 3 images. Try and make them at least 3,000 pixels on the longest edge. And I'll critique them on the show. Thanks again. Get out there and take some photos. Cheerio.